Hey everyone, today we're going to be discussing Red Sonja, going through my Red Sonja collection. Now, I had already planned on doing this video, but a couple days ago they announced the casting of Hannah John Kamen, who will be starring as Red Sonja in an upcoming live-action movie, which of course has stirred a lot of debate on the internet. Now, I do have an opinion on that, but we're not going to get into that today. Today we're just going to go through my Red Sonja collection, show you what I've got. And I'd like to start off actually with just a brief rundown of the history of Red Sonja. So the Red Sonja that we all know and love was created by writer Roy Thomas and artist Barry Windsor Smith for Marvel Comics back in 1973. She was partially based on two different Robert E. Howard characters, one of which included Red Sonja, Sonja with a Y. Now it's important to note here that Red Sonja with a Y was a very different character than our current Red Sonja. The story she appears in is not set in the Hyborian age of Robert E. Howard's Conan stories, but it's a historical fiction based around the time period of the Siege of Vienna, and Red Sonja with a Y herself is actually of Polish-Ukrainian descent. Writer Roy Thomas created a new origin story and transposed the new character into the Hyborian age in order to have this new Red Sonja interact with Conan the Barbarian in the comics, which were being published by Marvel at the time. Now, the new Red Sonja made her comic debut in 1973 in Conan the Barbarian issues 23 and 24, although she was yet to be depicted in what's now her iconic chainmail bikini. Spanish artist Esteban Maroto submitted an uncommissioned illustration to Thomas, which first depicted Sonja in what would become her famous metal bikini. This image would later be printed in Savage Sword of Conan #1, and she would continue to be depicted this way in later issues of Conan by John Buscema and also by Dick Giordano in Marvel Feature. In 1977, Red Sonja would officially get her own running title, illustrated by Frank Thorne. The new design, of course, was a hit, and the character has since become an iconic part of pop culture, with her now famous metal bikini design as much a part of her iconic look as is her red hair, for which she's named it for. Red Sonja has become such an iconic character, despite little to no mainstream attention, that even after 40 plus years, cosplayers around the world continue to duplicate her look for conventions and photo shoots. Of course, in the 80s, following the success of the live-action Conan movies starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, a live-action Red Sonja movie was released in 1985 to generally poor reviews. That movie starred Brigitte Nielsen as Red Sonja. Now, I've been a Red Sonja fan for a long time, but honestly, the only Red Sonja product I've ever really owned has been the DVD, the movie. I haven't gotten into the comics much when I was younger. I'm not sure why, I just never did. So several years ago, I decided to start getting into Red Sonja and started collecting some of the comics. And kind of what the catalyst of all of that was my local comic book shop had an annual sale where back issues would be on sale for anywhere from 25 to 50 to 75% off. So I used that as an opportunity to get started on my Red Sonja collection, and I was able to get a good chunk of Red Sonja books during one of those sales. I got, I think, $100 worth of books for about 25-30 bucks is all I had to spend. So I got a nice good chunk to get me started with, kind of kickstart my collection, and then from there my Red Sonja collection has grown, and that was really kind of what started me on the path to getting back into collecting again. So I really credit these Red Sonja books with me getting back into collecting comics and just this whole enjoying comics again. So now let me get to some of my comics. I tried to write a few notes down, but we'll see what I can get through. Of course, starting it all is my Red Sonja #1 from 1977, illustrated by Frank Thorne, who actually just recently passed away, so rest in peace to him. But This is the only one I have from the original run of her first run. So I would like to go back and get some more of these original runs from the old Marvel runs. Of course, Red Sonja, Marvel continued with Red Sonja for several years through the 80s. They had another Marvel run after this one, and then I think it bounced to Dark Horse for a while before finally landing at Dynamite. And Dynamite is where my Red Sonja collection starts. So I've started with actually issue number 0. This is kind of a preview that they put out. Red Sonja She Devil with a Sword, which is the same title as the original Marvel run, Red Sonja She Devil with a Sword. So this came out in, I think, 2005 is when this run started. And this features cover art by Greg Land is the cover artist on this one. There's a few different variants, but this is the one I've got. So that's the preview that kind of started it. And then one thing that Dynamite does is they love their variant covers. They have tons and tons of variant covers for every single issue, and it can get confusing when you're going through this. It's hard to, if you're just going by cover art, it's hard to remember, did I get that one or did I not get that one yet? So most of these issues have a minimum of 3 variant covers, sometimes as many as 5 or 6 or even more than that sometimes. So I didn't go crazy with the variant covers except for issue number 1. I tried to collect the all the variants on the first issue. I believe I'm only missing one. I'm not sure which artist it is, but I have, let's see, this is the John Cassidy cover. Let me move this out the way. So I've got the John Cassidy cover for issue number 1. I've got the Paulo Rivera, and I apologize if I'm saying that wrong, cover. Another variant cover for number 1. One of my favorite artists, Joseph Michael Linsner. I think this was actually the first one I picked up, variant cover for number 1. Really like this cover. Let's see, this is the Alex Ross variant cover. And then I have got the Arthur Adams variant cover. This is another cool cover I really like. Let's see if I can spread these out for you so you can see them just a little bit better. Let's do this. I'll get there, just 1 second. Okay. And finally I have the wonderful Michael Turner variant cover. This is one of my favorite covers as well. Actually these top 3 right here, these are probably my 3 favorite covers of the 6 that I have. I believe there's one more that I'm missing. I would like to try to get, not counting, you know, any sketch variants or anything. These are the actual full artwork variant covers. So I did get the variants on the issue number 1s. The rest of them that I have a complete run up to a certain point, and for those I didn't bother with the variant covers as much as I just wanted to get kind of my favorite covers. So either whatever was available or whatever was my favorite out of the ones that were available is kind of what I decided to go with. Okay, so here is issue number 2. Now, this is probably the storyline that I'm most familiar with when it comes to the Red Sonja comics. It's the ones that I've got the most of, is this 2005 run. Here's issue number 3. This features awesome cover from the legendary John Romita Sr. Great cover on this one. I really like this one. This, of course, is your very typical Red Sonja storylines, and good artwork on the inside, pretty good story, just good stuff. Red Sonja for me. This is issue number 4. Let's see, we've got issue number 5, another really cool cover. Lay those out for you. Issue number 6. This is an awesome cover by Billy Tan. I like this cover a lot. I've got a lot of these to go through, so let me try to move some of these out of the way as I go along. I'll show you this cover one more time by Billy Tan. He shows up a couple of times. Red Sonja number 7. I like this cover. This is by Andre DeVito. And the reason I like this cover is I'm a big fan of Dragonlance. As a kid, I used to read a lot of Dragonlance novels, and the artwork on the novels was done by Larry Elmore, who's another one of my favorite fantasy artists. And this particular artwork, this style, reminds me a lot of Larry Elmore. So I think that's why I was drawn to that particular cover for that one. Let's see, issue number 8. Now, I'm not going to be going into the actual storyline or any spoilers or anything like that. I'm just going to try to run through these. I do have a lot to go through. Let's see, this is issue number 9. This is an interesting cover. The reason I grabbed this is a negative version. Cover art is by Tom Cocker, I believe is how it's pronounced. And I did get the regular version also, so I kind of double bagged this one so you could see the regular version as well as the negative version. So pretty cool, pretty neat little effect. They did this with a few of the covers, but that's the only one that I got. Issue number 10. I really like this cover. I just like the design of it. I like the layout. This is by Joe Benitez, I believe. And again, apologies if I mispronounce some of these names, but just a really nice cover. This is one of my favorite covers. If you saw my top 50 video, I go through a lot of my favorite covers, and I mentioned I could probably do a top 50 of just Red Sonja covers alone, and I'm not lying. There's a lot of these I buy. It's the cover art I enjoy as much as I do the story. So let's see, this is issue number 11. And I apologize, I don't have notes or all of the cover artists written down for every one of these. Issue number 12. This is a great George Perez cover. Great use of shadows and, you know, some action there. I believe that's Ulan Tong, if I'm not mistaken, right there in that story. Moving on, issue number 13. I'm pretty proud of this run. I managed to get a pretty good solid run of comics up to a certain point where it's a pretty complete run. Issue number 14, another really cool cover with kind of a misty effect to it. Issue number 15. And I have, like I said, I have a complete run up to a certain point, and when we get to that point, I'll tell you where we're at and why I stopped there. Issue number 15. I'm sorry, 16 here. Pretty classic Red Sonja stuff. Issue number 17. This is a Mike Mayhew cover, and this is one of my favorite covers. This one almost made my top 50. Just a great depiction of Red Sonja. This is kind of how I envision Red Sonja, is just this fierce warrior like this. It's a great cover there. Show you that one more time real quick before we move on to issue number 18. The Age of Kulan Gath. That's who I think that might have been. Kulan Gath. No, maybe that was. I don't remember now. I'm gonna embarrass myself with with my Red Sonja knowledge, because it has been a while since I've read some of these. Issue number 19. Another great cover. Very almost photorealistic here, but just a great image. Here she reminds me, actually, if any of you have ever played Skyrim. She reminds me of the character from Skyrim. I think you all know. If you played Skyrim, you probably know who I'm talking about. Aaliyah. Issue number 20. Let's see. This is Joe Prado, I believe, is the artist for this particular cover. I've got issue 21. Great little action shot here with these ghastly arms coming up to grab her. Try to go through some of these a little quick. I do have a lot to go through. Issue number 22. Trying to take a peek at my notes also. I'm doing this, so I know which ones I'm looking at. Another great cover. Really like this cover. This is, I believe it's Joe Prado again. And just the fire, the colors, you know, Red Sonja right up there. It looks really, really great. Really like that cover. Another pretty cool cover here, issue number 24. No breaks yet, still got a solid run going. Pretty proud of putting this collection together. Again, this is all from the 2005 run. The series started in 2005. This is issue, 25. So this series started in 2005, and I think it ran until 2009. And then at some point, here's issue 26, cool cover. At some point, I believe the storyline crossed over with a different series that they started called Queen Sonja. But I believe that's later, after the point where I stopped on this particular run. Let's see, here's issue number 27. Dan, and I apologize, I'm bad with names, Dan Pannosian. Just another amazing cover. Again, this easily could have made my top 50 list. Great cover. I love this cover. Put that right here. Issue number 28. Still going. Still from the same run. 2005 to I think 2009. Red Sonja, She Devil with a Sword. Issue number 29. Still rocking and rolling. This is probably going to be a long video. Issue number 30. Great Alex Ross cover. Just a great cover. Love this cover. Another one of my top covers. And again, easily could have made my top 50. Very, very easily. Issue number 31. We're getting there. Issue number 32. Another cool cover. Great use of shadows here. Issue number 33. Red Sonja, She Devil with a Sword. Issue number 34. And this is where my run on this particular series ends. So the reason why I stopped here, now this series continued on for I think 70 something issues before it finally ended, and then like I said, at some point it crosses over with Queen Sonja, which was a separate series that started running. I stopped here because one, I didn't quite want to go all the way through 70 something issues of these, at least not yet, so I needed someplace to stop. And the reason I picked this issue, number 34, is I was going to stop at 30 until I found out that 34 actually kind of completes a story arc. And again, I don't want to give any spoilers away, but the way this issue ends, it kind of ends pretty nicely in terms of completing the story arc all the way from back to issue 0. Issue 35 kind of starts sort of a soft reboot of the series. So I mean, the story continues, but it's kind of a reboot, you could say. So 34 is actually a nice stopping point if you are interested in getting into this series, but you don't want to get 70 something issues. This would be the mark where you would want to kind of stop at issue 34. It's a good stopping point. Or if you want to keep on going, you can. I might end up continuing later on, but for now, that's where I'm at.